Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Tuesday, June 19th, 2012. Welcome to the Sports Blitz. I'm your host, Daniel Fleming. Let's get right to it. I'm very excited because we're continuing our preview of all 32 NFL teams as we get ready for the 2012 NFL season. And last week, we previewed the NFC South. So if you guys happen to miss that and you want to see it, just let me know. And you can see it by going on to YouTube and typing in MRFLEMING 1983. And I clearly marked it once I did the video. It says NFC South Preview. So that's something that you guys can check out in your spare time. But this week we're going to talk about the NFC North, which I feel is another exciting division, especially when you look at it at the top. And obviously when you talk about the NFC North, you got to start with the Green Bay Packers. Of course, they won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago against the Pittsburgh Steelers and went 15-1 in the regular season last year before losing in the playoffs to the eventual Super Bowl champions, the New York Giants. Obviously, with the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers is one of the elite quarterbacks in the National Football League. He is easily among the top three, and you can make the argument that he is the best quarterback and perhaps the best player in the National Football League. And what's scary is that he's still just 28 years old. That's just mind-boggling that he's probably only going to get better. And he had an outstanding season last year, especially in the regular season. He threw 45 touchdowns and only had 6 interceptions. I mean, those are just eye-popping numbers. And he is just an outstanding player, and obviously, as he goes, so go the Packers. The Packers have a very opportunistic defense as well, but it starts and ends with Aaron Rodgers. And as long as he's healthy, I fully expect Green Bay to win this division again this year. But they will have some competition in this division, and obviously one of the young teams in the National Football League that's on the verge of becoming elite is the Detroit Lions. They went 10-6 last year in the regular season, and they have, without question, the best wide receiver in the National Football League, Calvin Johnson. Of course, his nickname is Megatron, which, me personally, I feel that's just the coolest nickname, in all of sports, not just football. But Megatron led the National Football League last year with 1,681 receiving yards. I mean, he's just unbelievable. I mean, for a guy to be that big, that strong, and that fast, I mean, it's almost superhuman, he just has so much God-given genetics and ability, and obviously he puts it to use, and he has a great young quarterback throwing him the ball as well in Matthew Stafford. The Lions really had a great season last year. They ended up losing to the Saints in the playoffs. And the main issue that they have going into this season is actually some off-the-field mistakes that have been made by some of their players like Nick Fairley and Mikael LaSure. They both had multiple arrests in the offseason, so it'll be important, obviously, for the team to handle that internally and to put that behind them and to get focused on the upcoming season. Also in the NFC North, you got the Chicago Bears. Now, the Chicago Bears went 8-8 last season, so it was a bit of a disappointment. They obviously had higher expectations. And one of the biggest weaknesses that they've had on their team in recent years is that they haven't really had a go-to wide receiver. Well, they've really tried to address that in the offseason. They traded for Brandon Marshall, who has the potential to be a top 5 wide receiver in the National Football League when his head's on straight. And they also drafted Alshon Jeffrey, who was an outstanding wide receiver at South Carolina. So Jay Cutler now has a couple of weapons that he has to throw to, and that should improve Chicago's chances. I could see Chicago going 9-7 or possibly even 10-6. A lot of it depends on how Jay Cutler does and if the Chicago Bears defense can perform to its capabilities. Obviously, they still have Brian Urlacher, who's one of the best linebackers, not just in Chicago Bears history, but in the history of the National Football League. He's been such an integral part of their defense, for a very long time. And then finally in the NFC North, you got the Minnesota Vikings. They had a really tough year last year, going 3-13, and they ended up drafting Matt Khalil, who is an outstanding offensive lineman from USC. And that's obviously important, to have a left tackle that's going to protect your quarterback's blind side. And, of course, Christian Ponder is projected to be the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. And I fully expect him to play the disrespect card because Ron Jaworski is an analyst for ESPN, and he's doing his rankings of the top quarterbacks, and he's doing it for every quarterback in the league. And he had Christian Ponder ranked at number 28 out of 32. So, like I said, if I was Christian Ponder, I would be playing the disrespect card. I would be coming to camp angry and focused and determined and watching more film than ever before and putting in the work and becoming more familiar with your receivers and getting on the same page with them so you can prove all the doubters wrong. And maybe Minnesota can show some improvement and maybe even make a push for the playoffs. I fully expect them to be better than they were last year. I mean, they couldn't be much worse than 3-13. I expect Minnesota to win, at least 5 or 6 games, and time will tell if they're able to do more than that. So that's about it for our NFC North preview. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and next week I'm going to be previewing the NFC East. So I'll see you guys then.